I think it's time to Rigby.
I was just being a silly Billy, like usual.
One Punch Man Season 3 has been a disaster, not just the anime, but everything surrounding it. The director deleting Twitter, although that's a massive positive for him. Popular creators misinforming everyone. I'm not just talking about Nick, although this is not just a new thing. And a lot more. This is going to inform you guys the ins and outs regarding OPM Season 3. Of course, I don't have actual information, but I can confirm you guys on some stuff that popular creators that have millions of subs can't do because they're retarded, and see who's at fault, the committee or the studio. And am I a double agent in disguise defending Bandai Namco? Although I critiqued them multiple times, but people just want to focus on me saying the good stuff. Am I getting paid? Am I the next Dina racking your guys' brains, placing false memories? I'm just observing. What am I doing? I think it's not a new thing that big creators are fucking stupid when it comes to animation. This is not to fucking, oh, you guys should understand the situation, blah blah blah. I'm here as a person who knows more than you fucking dumbasses about animation to relay these informations that most people can't do. Because again, they can't critically think to themselves. To educate you guys what the situation is. You can critique the director, you can criticize JC stuff, you absolutely can criticize Bandai Namco, but people are blinded with hate and can't make an objective standpoint. People like Nicholas Light and Flexi. To be honest to you, I did have a full page about him, but I've summed up a lot about him, talked about him, and people are aware why he's wrong and sometimes delusional. Just watch Kaka's video on him. And again, I'll just say this. He's a fucking retard, dumbass, stupid, what other words that could trigger him? Same with Flexi. Although I love her reactions, I think she's the rare few I actually watch on a daily basis. Stuff like this.
Oh, there's the background and all the other characters. I'm getting kind of tired of this background.
Season 2 had the same wonky shit, no background shit too, but doesn't complain about it. But again, Flexi's not doing a Nicholas Light. Tweeting a couple of times about it, that doesn't fucking matter. The hate for her is unjustified, but I can still critique the inconsistencies. The inconsistencies are there's problems, same as this on other shows, but they don't see it because if everything is good, everything is good. There's no point criticizing it because that's how people that don't understand animation thinks. I'm fair with any show. I point out the bad and the good, and that's that. I'm here to criticize your opinion, not you as a person. I can separate that because I'm not a schizo monkey. People who blindly glaze the show, it's not the Sakuga community. They don't understand animation either. That's why I get hate from both sides. Also, Nick, if you're gonna comment shit, keep talking about engagement because you can't say anything else beside that, little bro. And why are you replying to people on my reaction channel? Like, bro, have some fucking standards for yourself. On the other side is these retarded ass creators that make misinformed videos trying to explain why Bandai do this or what, but fail because they're stupid. This guy. I saw a minute clip of this video on Twitter, then listened to it when I was scripting my video. I'm halfway through. I mean, 2 minutes in, this guy was chatting absolute shit. Every single fucking step of the video is fucking misinformating shit because he doesn't know how to fucking research well. And this video has fucking 144k. Talking about Madhouse has big budget, JC Stuff has low budget. Doing soulless research on the studio, it's absolute stupid. And same with this guy responding to Charlie's video. This guy anime shit and still doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. That's fucking crazy. You can see the video, he's filled with fucking rage about Charlie criticizing OPM Season 3, which, yes, he's absolutely wrong on some stuff, and he is misinformed. But he's just making a vid about it, and then boom, he disappeared. He's not Nicholas Light. And the only criticism this guy comes up with is, oh, you guys should try to animate something because it's hard. And he's repeating this multiple times. Average budget of anime is $1 million, and JC Stuff is a small studio. Like, are these people fucking serious? Again, this is me criticizing them for their objectively dumb, retarded, brain-dead content that's trying to explain shit but failing, misinformating in every fucking step. Again, I know most people aren't sakugatards, but at least do some research like Arikaindo does. He makes good videos about animation stuff related, but he's not well versed in this sakuga space, you can say. But he can make informative videos that's correct because he does research. But again, that's an anomaly example. Shout out to him though. And if you're still watching my vids, Arikaindo, love it. One Punch Man Season 1 was an amalgamation of the best of the best in the industry, gathered to make this season a special project, more so a passion project. Also, this team didn't just came out of nowhere. The team, or more accurately, the same gathering of talent was working together on a project. Being Space Dandy, it was directed by Shingo Natsume, had the same names in both projects. Natsume contacted everyone he knows, which was the best of the best, but of course, animation producer Fukushi contacted some of the animators too, like Yutaka Nakamura, and in-house talent like Hidehiko Sawada. That's why Nakamura came back to a Fukushi project in Madhouse, being Freerin. He has that connection even though Nakamura is contracted to Bones, hence he has to go under a pen name if he's not in a Bones project. While it is a once-in-a-lifetime project, it's not really that. Multiple shows have showcased that they can be on that level of quality, more so even better. My Dress Up Darling, JJK, Chainsaw Man, Takopi, Frieren, Rui no Hoseki, so much more fucking titles that beats or at least at the same level as OPM in terms of quality. When Season 2 rolled around, JC Staff picked up the project and it was a mess, kinda. The schedule was tight, everything about it looks especially the compositing, but of course you have Aoki being one of the lifesavers for the project with other JC Staff regulars too. But Season 3 rolled around and it looked worse. If you're talking about movement, the show doesn't move much, but there's a lot of upgrades that people ignore because they just want to hate. The age-old question, who is at fault? I'm at fault. Am I right, Rigby?
The hell out of here, Freaky Billy.
It's both of them. When I'm talking about JC stuff, I'm of course talking about the higher ups. Studios are booked with multiple projects years in advance, so it would be hard to get those well-established studios to do a project. So more times or not, you get shitty adapted projects because the talent is not there and limited resources. You don't also gauge a project production time with the trailer dropping and shit. That's not gonna work. Projects are done way in advance. The decision to make the Demon Slayer anime was in the works in 2016 when the manga was only had like a few chapters. Same with Dungeon Meshi and more recently Takopi. Takopi's manga finished serializing in 2022 and producer Kotaro Sudo straight away contacted the studio, which is Enichiya. JC Staff took the mantle of Season 3 knowing fully well they don't have a structured good enough to make something like OPM Season 3. I've made a video about JC Staff way back then, but in summary, JC Staff is well known to pick up many projects that restrict the artists involved in it, overproducing shows that lead to outsourcing and delays. This studio has been like this for a bit, not always though. I still think prime JC Staff was late 20s and early mid 2010s because they did a lesser projects back then. Now the model is a bit different now. They prioritize quantity over quality, and that's of course a bad thing when you already have a pretty strong in-house staff team, which most studios should go for. A1 is leading more to that. We saw that with Soul Leveling and Makiine. Same with Side Games, with Studios, Nappa, Cloverworks, because if you are relying too much on outside help and you're not consistent with it, then it would be a problem. Not every studio can pull multiple industry leading talents like Mappa or Cloverworks, and of course it's also more fault on the committee. They did this with Blue Lock. These people don't understand how shit works. They could give more time to these projects, they would get more money, but of course the retards in suits are oblivious. They can give JC Staff more time, but of course they don't. Anime studios don't get paid much of the revenue because most of the time they don't even fund the projects themselves. Some studios will pick up any project because they need stuff to work on for their in-house staff, and of course if they don't do that, they do subcontracted works like getting a couple of their in-house staff do random second key animation in between jobs. That's why you see multiple studios in one project. The committee are a bunch of companies that does the decision making. Some of them are the people that actually fund the project, and some are just, you know, the channel that they broadcast in, like Fuji TV, etc. Sometimes Netflix too, or the original holders if it was a light novel or a manga. Most studios are in the red most of the time because they don't get paid that well, contrary to what people think. Some studios are even in the negatives. There's multiple reports on it. But of course, there's outliers, like sometimes studios are in the committee. Like Bones for Mob Psycho, they are high up in the committee, so they have more say to this. They can do this because they have other projects that negates the risks of it, like My Hero, Bones Bread Maker. They learn from their mistakes, almost bankrupting themselves because they made a passion project, Iruka 7, in 2005, hence they're the only one in the committee. They fund it themselves. There's studios that make animes and also being the producer for projects like Production IG and TMS Entertainment, and more recently Mappa with Chainsaw Man. Of course, they did this because they wanted the money to themselves, not to make a free, calm environment. They get more of the creative decision and more leeway on the schedule. The animation producer and some other people that's from the studio negotiate as best as they can, so the product can be realized, and also the budget. The budget is also handed to the studio, and then they can navigate that to the project. Resource managing is up to the anime director, etc., to understand what they can do with the time they have. They can lean more on sacrificing multiple episodes so some can have that quality, or be more lenient on it, like My Hero. The staff knew they can't bite more they can chew, so what they did is focus more on strong drawings and a decent presentation for multiple seasons. But everything got better with the final season because A, they don't have a movie they're working on, B, they don't need to work on more seasons after this, and C, they had the talent to do something like episode 3. It's not just time, it's also the talent that got pulled to this episode. That's why the fight is better looking in terms of boarding and direction wise. If you give this episode to a regular storyboard artist in My Hero, even with the same animator pool, it won't hit the same. Kohei Hirota modified this scene to make it more grander, you can say. Same with Vincent's cut in ReZero. You think his scene, compared to the other stuff in the episode, is the same? No. It's not just the animation, it's also the boards, staging and stuff. The gold standard for studios is, of course, KyoAni and Ufotable. They've built up this culture in their studio that they are thriving in terms of revenue and having a healthy production environment too. I mean, the new KyoAni anime trailer thing that they showed that's gonna come out in 2026 is probably finished production, or maybe they're already working on another project. KyoAni is not a studio that's very well known for the normies, but their revenue is more than the mainstream popular studios. They're the GOAT. Same with Ufotable. Like, you know why Ufotable is not working on Genshin Impact right now? Because they have their priorities, which is Demon Slayer. Of course, I'm not saying they're not working on it at all. People are saying they are working on it. Production lines is another thing that most people don't even know. Same with the people that's trying to make informative content too. Fucking tourists. DC Stuff has 3 production line. There's more probably, but these are the important ones you can say. Isao Suzuki's team that's recently worked on Mugen Gacha and next season of Railgun soon. Atsushi Fujishiro that's recently worked on OPM season 3. Dad is a Hero, Boy Girl Relationship, and Kosuke Matsuo recently with Honey Lemon Soda and the Liso Nursery. This is not a JC style thing. Most studios have this. Bones, Mappa, A1, all sorts. Madhouse right now has Frieren, their strongest team, that's being led by Yuichiro Fukushi, that previously did OPM season 1 too, and this one. I mean, what the fuck? Of course the CG is more so on the other studio, Cyclone Graphics, but same with another line in Madhouse that Shingo Natsume is doing. I mean, he's doing a movie in Madhouse right now. The problem with JC is just that even with multiple production lines, there's overlapping of the staff because a lot of the in-house talent is not just bound to one production line, it's the studio itself. They're not contracted to one production line, but they are contracted to the studio. Like Yutaka Nakamura. Nakamura is, of course, with Bones, but he mainly focused on Studio C with My Hero. Of course, he worked on Mob Psycho, which is a Studio B project, but he didn't appear in Vigilante. And he hasn't appeared in Studio A in a while, which Gachi Kuda is the team that's producing it, but from the documentary thing showcasing Bones, they did show Nakamura working on a scene in Gachi Kuda, so poggers. They are spread thin working on multiple shit, and it's also a problem with some of the anime that their connections are not the strongest, hence why they rely more on their in-house staff. Of course, there's random freelancers, but not on par with some other studios. If you think JC Staff lacks in the action department, sure, if you're comparing it to Madhouse, but don't ignore the multiple action anime that JC Staff has worked on, and another one that's coming that might be their best looking action show. Yes, you can blame Bandai Namco for obvious reasons. Yes, you can blame the higher ups in JC Staff for knowing the situation and still picking up OPM Season 3 and not also making it their priority project, because there's better directors in JC Staff than Nagai and a lot of other factors. There's problems in all fronts with the history of what JC Staff has become. Yes, most studios can't do what JC Staff is doing right now, but they can. And you need human slavery. Although I could make this video twice as long, but I don't want to do that because for my own sanity. Hopefully you guys understand something more from this video, and if you want more shit about JC Staff, just watch my JC Staff video. If you guys like the video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a like. Comment down below your thoughts about, I don't know, stuff. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time.